All right, let's go back to Europe. Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? It's becoming very dangerous. And I've been talking about the next 2 years of darkness. There's reasons for it. Look at the aggression of many nations, not just ISIS rising up in the Middle East, but the aggression of Russia with Crimea and East Ukraine, and the aggression of cultural destruction by Obama here in America. And throw in then this global rise of radical Islam throughout all of Europe, a floundering market, a very inconsistent, fluctuating currencies, and the agendas of the global elitist, and then just throw in some extreme weather, chaos, and asteroids intensity on the earth, and then a few sinkholes, the water turns blood red, birds start falling out of the sky, fish wash up dead by the millions, and large animals fall over dead around the world, and you start to see a pattern of chaos, not just only man orchestrated, because really it's Satan orchestrated, and it's bringing us closer to the end. Now let me tell you what's happening in Ukraine. Pro-Russian separatists, in a self-proclaimed breakaway, took and did a vote yesterday, went to the polls on Sunday, just in East Ukraine, not sanctioned by the Ukrainian government and President Poroshenko, but the Eastern Ukrainians themselves had a vote, very controversial election, to determine their leadership. The West has refused to recognize the results of these elections, and has called on Moscow to do the same. Don't recognize this. This is a rebellion in the country of Ukraine, which were met by massive flood of Russian bombers flying near NATO airspace. That's what Russia did. Massive amount of Russian planes come flying near NATO airspaces to say, oh no, we're standing with the Eastern Ukrainian pro-Russian speaking people. And so they had an election. Russia, which supports the rebels but denies fighting on their side, which we know is bogus. We know that there's been thousands of Russian troops unmarked in there helping the pro-Russian separatists that already live in Ukraine to fight against the Ukrainian army and to try to break away and become part of Russia. We know it's happening. The United States and Europe capitals, which have imposed heavy economic sanctions on Russia, are backing the current Ukrainian government there in Kiev. Both self-declared republics were choosing new presidents and parliaments, but there was little question that the current unelected rebel chiefs, Alexander Zakharchenko, he would be confirmed and take the position of East Ukraine. There's no international election monitors were present. Nobody from any other nation was there to monitor the election so that it could say to the world this was a true election. There was no minimum turnouts established, and so whatever the results are is what they will be. Shortly after the Ukrainian separatists began voting, reports began to flood social media, which purported to show Russian troops were already crossing the Ukrainian border into Ukraine. There's no question. Also, there's reports of 20 trucks, some carrying anti-aircraft guns, heading toward the government-held airport, although it was not clear whether these were new forces or just returning forces. Several Western news outlets are reporting witnessing heavy movement of troops in East Ukraine. Among them, reports for the news sites BuzzFeed.com. Others are tweeting that they have seen large military columns. BuzzFeed's Max Seddon wrote 31 unmarked military trucks just drove into East Ukraine. Anti-aircraft weapons, ammunition boxes, radar systems, buses of gunmen, all coming from Russia into Ukraine. They're all unmarked. That's why Putin keeps saying, I'm not involved. We're not sending any troops. We're not involved. But it's obvious that Russia is involved. Now the question is, where does America fit into this? Where does America, where does the European Union fit into this? And what will be the plan? I mean, maybe the plan is America just back off and let Crimea and eastern Ukraine go with Russia and let the rest of Ukraine be its own country. But I know that there's military experts saying Russia will not stop with just Crimea. Russia will not stop with just East Ukraine. Russia will also take the other 3 Baltic states, Estonia, and Latvia, and the other one, I forgot, those 3 Baltic states, and that eventually Russia will go after the rest of Ukraine. Now, if you read Bible prophecy, in the book of Ezekiel 38, you'll see that those 3 Baltic states, Crimea and East Ukraine, are all part of the original Magog territory. So they may not take the rest of Ukraine. This may be all they take because it's the easiest path of least resistance, especially if America and the EU can't do anything about it. Folks, or this could set up a potential World War III scenario. I pray to God not. But I'll be back with my next video and read to you President Vladimir Putin's speech. President Vladimir Putin's speech. He makes no bones about it. If you want a World War III, he'll give you a World War III, is his warning to America and Europe. I'll be back with more current world events, how they relate to Bible prophecy and the powerful Word of God. Wow.